back, everybody, to the High Roller Organization Sports Betting Podcast. Today, what T and I are going to talk about is the bets to win each one of the conferences. We're going to start with that, give you our opinions on what we feel the best future bet is, maybe in the conference. Might pick some chalk along the way, but we'll also maybe give you an idea of who could sneak in and disrupt, or some way where you can make money on somebody other than the chalk. Let's go ACC with this one. In the ACC, what are you looking at there, T? I know myself, Clemson's on top. I've got some reservations about Clemson being on top at a minus 160. Boy, I just can't lay that number. You know, it's not like, boy, I like Utah at plus 180. I really do. But Clemson, minus 160, I'm not feeling comfortable with that one. I'll give you another surprise shocker here on this one, at least according to the odds. At plus 700, you'll find North Carolina State. They're good. I think they're real good. I think they win the ACC. I don't think you're going to find a better bet on the board. I kind of like my sleeper bet with Texas A&M, that plus 1,200 if you want to take a real flyer. You know, NC State has a great opportunity to win the ACC. Clemson has to put it all together. DJ Uyunglele needs to have a heck of a year. His offensive line got better. I love Dabo, but as we've said in a previous podcast, Dabo lost some assistants for the first time. So that stability isn't necessarily there for Clemson. The Clemson had a down year last year. The only thing there's a saying in coaching, when you have a team that knows where they've been and they know how to get there, they can generally get it done. That means they've been champions before, they've tasted it. As long as they're there to execute and work hard, they can get back. That's where kind of Clemson is. They want to get back to the mountaintop. Don't sleep on NC State. I love that team. To me, they're a top 10 team in the nation. I love their over and win totals, and at a plus 700, they're another team that it gets later on into the year. You'll be able to sell that ticket and make some money on the secondary market. That's my sleeper. Pitt comes in at plus 500. I'm just not sold on Pitt. They lost that wideout. That's going to kill them. They lost their quarterback. I look for them to fall back a little bit, and I know Cristobal's down there in Miami. They're plus 500. That's a good number, and I like Cristobal, and I like another team. I like where they're going. I don't know if they're there yet. What are your thoughts on the ACC?
I agree with NC State. I've got NC State as the sixth best team in the country this year. Clemson, I have, I think, 3. But, yeah, I'm very high on the Wolfpack. I love Leary at quarterback. I like that the fact they bring 10 starters back defensively. Yep. I think NC State is in for a big year. Only thing about them is, will the hype get too much?
Yeah, because they haven't been there. They haven't been there before,
and they do go to Clemson this year.
And
if that game was at home, I would like that bet even more. I think they are undervalued in terms of the futures market.
When do they play Clemson? When is that game?
October 1st. They go to Clemson.
A little early.
It's like what week?
A little early to make money. See, where I'm going with it is if they're both undefeated going into an early November game, and NC State's a top 10 team, Clemson's a top 10 team, that plus 700 ticket that we're talking about, you could double, maybe even, two and a half extra money on that one.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see NC State week 1 at East Carolina. You wouldn't think of that as a big game, but it's a tough place to play, and it's a rivalry. Yeah. So you listen to their coaching staff talk at the ACC Media Day and all that, and that's definitely a game that they're not going to overlook. So I'm very interested to see them come out early because they win week 1. Week 2, they play Charleston Southern. Should be a win. Week 3, they play at home against Texas Tech, who's down.
Good team, but down. Yep, I agree.
That they should beat Texas Tech handily.
I agree.
And then they play Connecticut, who that's a win. If you're a top 10 team in the country, you do not lose to UConn in football before Clemson. Now, the only thing about that UConn game is it is a look ahead, potentially taking UConn because they're going to be plus 30 plus points probably.
Easy.
I mean, it'll be a big number.
Maybe a time to take UConn.
You might find
points.
some value in that, looking ahead to Clemson the next week.
Yep.
But I think NC State is really good. Miami. I mean, I think Miami will be all right with the Dyke kid at quarterback. They're, I think, a little overvalued in terms of the odds. I definitely wouldn't have them as better odds to win the conference than NC State or Pittsburgh, for that matter. I mean, Pittsburgh, I envision a system change offensively a little bit.
I think you have to.
I mean, coaching staff is more run-heavy than they have been in the past. They lose. I mean, you lose your quarterback, you lose your wide receiver in the transfer market right at the end of the window.
Yeah, it was a tough loss for them.
We'll see how but personally, I would put Clemson. I think they're a little over-favored, so to speak. I wouldn't make them a minus 160 favorite.
Yeah.
Right around even money, I think, would be a
more
good
realistic
number for Clemson. And then I would bring I think NC State's right there with them.
Yeah, when I saw the number originally, I was shocked. And that's going to be one of those areas where, I can definitely see myself putting a dollar or two on NC State on that futures market.
Yeah, I mean,
because I like them that much. Whenever you got a top 10 team in the nation, and you're facing a Clemson team that is, coming off a so-so year for them, and they're facing some change. I mean, it's an opportunity. That's where you see value. I mean, plus 700. That's pretty good value. I mean, that's. To me, that's the type of value that if you can find it out there, boy, I think you got to jump on things like that.
NC State's win total at 8.5. We started kind of going through their schedule a little bit at East Carolina week 1.
Yep.
I mean, should be a win. Yep. Like I said, looking forward to watching that game. Charleston Southern be 2. Yep. Texas Tech would be 3. UConn would be 4. And then after that Clemson game, they play 4 of their next 5 games are at home.
Yeah.
They got Florida State at home, at Syracuse, who doesn't even have odds posted. They're part of the field in the betting market.
Yeah.
So
now explain that, and now explain the field to folks who may not.
So in the ACC,
what they
Duke,
go down,
Georgia Tech, and Syracuse don't have odds.
Yeah.
They're the field other at plus 10,000 is the odds.
Don't play the field.
It's not.
It's not like your dating life. Don't play the field.
Yeah, so you got the Syracuse game. After Syracuse, they have a bye week before they got Wake Forest, or Virginia Tech, Wake Forest, which is their homecoming game, and then Boston College all at home.
Ooh. Yeah,
and then they close out with at Louisville, at North Carolina, but at 8.5, if they don't drop kick some,
you might have your ticket wrapped up by then.
Yeah, they should. Yeah. I have that. I really like North Carolina State over.
Yeah, I think I've got them down as a 10-win team myself. So that being said, I think there's value there. I think there's more value there than going with a Miami or Pittsburgh, who are both plus 500. And I just, I can't pull the trigger. I mean, I'll bite my tongue and say I think there's more value in taking Michigan at plus 600 than a Miami or Pittsburgh at plus 500.
Yeah.
But
they ain't beating Ohio State, so don't do that.
Exactly.